Hello, and welcome to this first episode of the Zim Explorer. In this episode, I will take you through the beginning stages of the new nation of Zimbabwe, from the end of the liberation struggle, or what some call the Rhodesian Bush War, to the internal settlement of 1979, the Lancaster House Agreement, and lastly, the elections of 1980. Please sit back and enjoy as we explore together. And just as a quick reminder, please remember to like and subscribe to our channel to help us continue exploring like we are doing now. After about a decade since announcing the unilateral Declaration of Independence, the white minority government led by Ian Douglas Smith was beginning to feel the heat. It was facing problems at home from the now formidable nationalist military drive spearheaded by the two exile-based patriotic fronts, ZANU-PF led by Robert Gabriel Mugabe and PF-ZAPU led by Joshua Nkomo. It was also facing international pressure in form of sanctions, so it opted to find some form of relief in an internal agreement called the Internal Settlement. In order to seek recognition from the international community, the Rhodesian government signed on 3 March 1978 an agreement with some internal moderate black nationalist leaders, including Abel Muzorewa of the United African National Council, Ndabaningi Stole of ZANU, who had defected from the mainstream ZANU-PF party, and Jeremiah Chirau, among others. Under that short-lived government, named the Internal Settlement, elections were held in March 1979. For the first time, the majority of the indigenous population were granted the privilege to vote. 72 seats were for the black majority, and the remaining 20 were reserved for the white minority. 5 political parties contested in the elections. They were the United African National Council of Abel Muzorewa, ZANU led by Ndabaningi Stole, UNFP led by Kaisa Ndiweni, ZUPO led by Jeremiah Chirau, and NDU led by Chiwota. Abel Muzorewa's United African National Council won a clear majority of 51 out of the 72 common roll seats. Stole's ZANU won 12 seats, and Kaisa Ndiweni came third with 9 seats, mainly in the 2 Matabeleland provinces which were his home area. Of the 2.9 million eligible voters, just over 1.8 million did cast their vote. Some claim that some voters failed to vote due to voter intimidation orchestrated by the guerrillas loyal to ZANU-PF and PF-ZAPU, who were in control of most of the rural areas. A new government of national unity with Abel Muzorewa as Prime Minister took office on 1 June 1979, renaming the country Zimbabwe Rhodesia and later adopting a new flag to signal a new transition. Soon, however, it became apparent that the internal settlement was inadequate to solve the prevailing crisis. First and foremost, the two patriotic fronts were not involved in the political processes and had boycotted the general election, castigating the signatories as mere puppets of the Smith government. Furthermore, the frontline states, that is, Angola, Botswana, Mozambique, Tanzania, and Zambia, condemned the internal settlement as a non-event. Even the international community, including the United Nations, the then Organization of African Union, and the British government, condemned the internal settlement for excluding the patriotic fronts. It became evident that a new way forward had to be devised. At that time, the newly elected British Prime Minister Margaret Thatcher, on a visit to Africa, met the Commonwealth leaders in Lusaka, Zambia. At that meeting, a decision was made to invite all the warring parties to a conference in London. After a number of setbacks and excuses, especially from the two patriotic fronts, the conference was a success and was held at the now famous Lancaster House in London from September to December 1979. Lord Carrington, the British Minister of African Affairs, was the chairman. In his opening address, he appealed to the delegates to be prepared to compromise in order to reach an amicable peace agreement. Joshua Nkomo gave a speech on behalf of the two patriotic fronts in which he castigated the internal settlement parties and decried the reluctant attitude of the British government in finding a lasting solution to the Zimbabwe-Rhodesia conflict. He, however, claimed that as the liberation movement, they were so close to victory and annihilating their enemy, a claim that seemed to have been substantially true. Abel Mzolewa spoke for the internal settlement parties. He appealed to the British government to recognize the newly elected government of national unity, claiming that the new government had done a lot in improving the political and social ills of the past, a claim that likely got the whole room humming in disagreement. After nearly 4 months of deliberations, in December 1980, an agreement was finally signed by all the parties. It included, among other things, an agreement for a ceasefire, a new constitution, the nullification of the 1979 election, and preparations for a new election to be held in 1980. The new election was to be conducted under the oversight of the British government. So, from then on, until the election in 1980, the country returned to direct British rule with Lord Soames as governor. Thus, an election was held on March 27 to 29, 1980. 9 parties contested in the election. They were ZANU-PF, led by Robert Gabriel Mugabe, UANC of Mzolewa, PF ZAPU, led by Joshua Nkomo, ZANU, led by Ndabaningi Stole, ZDP, led by Chikerema, NFZ, led by Mandaza, NDU, led by Chiwota, UNFP, led by Ndiweni, and a certain UPAM. Robert Gabriel Mugabe's ZANU-PF won 57 of the common roll seats. ZAPU, led by Joshua Nkomo, won 20 seats, and Mzolewa took 3. The Rhodesian Front, led by Ian Douglas Smith, retained the 20 seats reserved for Wise. Thus, Robert Gabriel Mugabe was entitled to form the next government for the next 5 years. How did he go about it? What were some of the challenges that the new administration faced? Would the liberation movements that had been fighting the same enemy in war be able to coexist together in peace? Please, watch out for the next episode as we explore those questions and more in the episode titled A New Start, 1980 to 1985. Thank you so much for watching this video to its end. Please remember to like and subscribe to our channel so that we can be able to keep on producing nice videos like these ones. And remember to hit the notification button so you'll be notified every time we post a new video. Thank you. See you next time.